Game one.
Dude, hell of a game.
Hell of a game. So, I get it. Joker's the MVP, 3-time MVP, all this stuff, but Chet looked like the better player out there.
Yeah, I think it has to do with old man syndrome. So when you get past 30-something years old in the NBA, it takes you a little bit more time to rev up your engine. Whereas Chet, he's been practicing at a high level all off season and getting ready. And we all know that Joker has a need for a lot of beer and horse racing. So I think that's what his off season consisted a lot of. So it was no shock that Chet came out ready to play. And I mean, let's just put it out there: 25 points. He had something like 4 blocks,
14 rebounds,
2 steals, 5
Something
assists,
crazy.
14 rebounds, 4 of which were offensive, 11 for 18 from the field. He shot 0 for 5 from 3-point range. But I don't see that being a trend that's going to continue to happen.
Got game, bro. And he's bringing it on both ends. Matching up against Joker, obviously you're going to get hyped about that. But, what we're really watching right now is a team. That's the exciting thing.
So fun.
I mean, we can talk about Shea putting up, 28, I think, 28, 8, and 7, I think is the number. 5 and 3, something crazy like that. I don't know, man. It was
8 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 28 points. Yeah. But let's just talk about starting the game. Coach decided to go with starting Isaiah Joe. How did you feel about that? To me, I think that starting position needs to be known as one of those starting positions that if we need a guy to shoot, to spread the floor, we're going to have a guy that spreads the floor. If we're going to need a guy that plays a hard-nosed defense, then Alex Kuso will come up and start. If we need a guy that is going to, slash and cut and, get up the floor quickly, we're going to lean towards Aaron Wiggins. If we're looking at a big man and we need a big man to start in that position, I think we're looking at Hartenstein. So I feel like that Isaiah Joe starting position was a hell of a move by coach to spread that floor out, even though Isaiah Joe went 1 for 6 and only had 7 points, but it was much more than that because the way that he made it so that Denver could not collapse to become a problem for Chet was beautiful.
Yeah, so Caruso, I don't think he scored, but he was all over the place in ways that he is really the only player in the NBA who plays his style of play. So it's great to see him kind of easing his way in. I thought personally he would move into the starting lineup. I like that it's open, it's not like he was given it. He is a starting level player. He's a all defensive caliber player. The fact that he's not starting and he's okay with it, he wants to figure out how he can contribute for Coach D. That's impressive, man. That really is impressive. I don't know how long he's going to come off the bench because this team is better with him on the court than with him off the court, but there are also several other players that were better with on the court than without them on it. So let's talk about I don't know about the starting lineup to answer your question, but I do know where the game changed, right? The game changed late in the third quarter. I think they cut it all the way down to 3 points and halfway through the third quarter. But by the time the third quarter was over, the game was pretty much over. It was a 20-point lead.
Yeah.
And Shea was going to sit on the bench.
Around 5 minutes, I think it was cut to 3 in the third quarter. And by the time it was 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, we had opened up the lead to, I think, 10, 12, something like that.
So explain to me, bro, was it just they couldn't make a shot? Denver did it? Was it a Denver, us locking them down? I don't know.
So I've gone back and forth with this, and I've said for a long time, how is this defense going to get better as time goes on? And I think it has everything to do with, in the fourth quarter, we were, I think, the best fourth quarter defensive team last season. But it's all about extending that. If we can extend that into the third quarter to make it so that we shut down teams in the third quarter as well as the fourth quarter, then it's killer. But look at what we did with the Nuggets last night in the third quarter: 17 points, fourth quarter, 19 points. That is what we need to continue to do with this team. It's not about beating a team to 100, but it's about understanding that all we have to do is play our defense. If we can hold a team under 90 points, that is a very potent offense. So this is what we need to see from this team. We need to see this desire to go out there and put 102 points on the board and be cool with it because the defense is good. But we also, on the flip side, hold the team to under 90 points. And by the way, Nuggets only did that 3 times last year, under held under 90 points. So again, that's a big thing right there for this team.
So we saw, Shea and Chet put up some big numbers. But really, we just saw production from a few guys as far as like double digits. We saw J Dub and Aaron Wiggins off the bench. Those two guys really came in and gave us the support. But outside of that, bro, it's like single digits across the board, I think, including like Jeng, who hit a couple of threes. So that's nice to see. But there's obviously this huge gap right now. We're missing Jay Will. We're missing Hartenstein. We're missing Nikola Topic, which is like fine. We're not going to get him this year. But you look at that bench and the guys in street clothes, and it's quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's not going to be like that forever. I want to make that sure everybody understands this. The person that we had for the fourth most minutes last night was Cason Wallace, 23 minutes, 4 points, 2 steals, 2 rebounds, or 4 rebounds, 2 offensive. These are the type of guys that we're going to lean towards to give us more minutes. We need Cason Wallace averaging double digits. We need Alex Caruso averaging double digits. We need Daniel Jones, Hartenstein, whoever it is that we're leaning on out there. We need those guys to step up and play big. But if you look at our starters, that's where the points are obviously going to come from. And last night, to me, I saw one of our starters that kind of looked like he was still injured. But to me, it's about playing through that injury. J Dub obviously was still hurting. 12 points, 2 for 8 from 3, 5 for 16 from the floor. He was working through that pain. But what I saw from him and really the rest of the team was the fact is we were finishing, whether it was a 3-point play, whether we were throwing down an enormous amount of dunks last night. Like these guys, it's at a whole new level. It made it look like the Denver Nuggets were a old team trying just to keep up the entire game. And we're just dunking it and throwing it down, hitting threes, moving around. Like it was a really great execution of the game. And I got to say is the way that J-Dub finished when we needed him in the fourth quarter was really great. Like the fact is that he struggled for first 3 quarters to get his going. And I think he scored like 7 points in that fourth quarter. Really, made some sizzle there. So that was really good to see.
With J Dub, I noticed a couple of moves he made going to the basket where he added something
So
new to
filthy.
his game, like just a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of moving the ball around to get the defender to watch the ball, stop moving their feet a little bit. Kind of reminded me of Shea. If you remember last year against Portland, he pulled a move over Jeremy Grant's head that was like, whoop, you know what I mean? And like, it's like Dub is like, I can be creative now that I'm going into my Euro step, right? If I can distract the defender just a little bit, I can get past him a little bit further. And you saw him experiment with that, and that dunk you're mentioning, that explosion right as he got past it, is like that little bit of hesitation and that change of speed made a huge difference. And I see that coming on in a big way
Sure.
for Dub. His game has a long way it can still go, but like you said, it was a struggling game, and he put up something that I would say like for I wasn't a good player, so not me, but for like a lot of players, that would have been a couple of highlights of their career. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily like, yeah, this is J Dub, prime J Dub, but this is like we're gonna see his full blown talent, what he's been able to improve on, and like you said, when he's not feeling that ankle anymore,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a different level.
Yeah, and he had 5 turnovers last night. That's not going to be a J Dub that we see long term right there. We had 12 turnovers for the night, so you take that away, we had single digit turnovers. So J Dub is going to be all right. I still think that he's going to be one of those guys that we see an incredible season with.
Right.
I don't worry about it.
We're putting a lot on him right now, especially with like Giddy being somewhere else, being in Chicago now. it's really interesting what you see with J Dub. Like that's going to be what, like basically Sam Presti was betting on was that J Dub needs more opportunities with the ball in his hands. They moved getting off the ball a little bit to do that more,
Sure.
but it was like
Sure.
they're betting all in on that when they made that trade, or you know, so that's fascinating to kind of see play out because I think in a big way when you move someone like Giddy, you're clearing the way for someone like J Dub.
Absolutely. We had a lot of big plays of the night. But Chet's block on
Jets,
Joker and
yeah,
then
and then
sprint back
Joker
on sprint back
didn't do
on
it. Mm-hmm.
offense and threw that down. That was the infamous that was the run that we were going on in that third quarter that just made it sound like the
Dude,
game was over.
you know what he looked like? I just thought of this, bro. All right, he looked like a praying mantis.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I want to go back to this. You sent me a text today. Shaq,
Yeah, yeah,
Charles, and Kenny all talking about Chet and Shea. But go ahead and explain to me what that was all about.
yeah, man. There's just been a handful of players who have ever teammates who have put up 25 plus. What I think it's 8 plus, 6 plus. I don't know. You know how these stats
25
go.
points, 5+ rebounds, 5+ assists, and 3+ blocks.
All right,
So
there
you
you
got
go.
Shea and Chet, Shaq and D Wade, Danny Manning and Ron Harper, Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, Moses Malone and Reed.
I don't know this R Reed off the top of my head, but it was from '79 when he was with the Rockets. I mean, Moses Malone was multi-time MVP,
Yeah,
so I'm
there you
sure
go.
somebody else got hot one day, and that's what we got.
So again, we just saw something that we didn't even see Kobe and Shaq ever do. That's something that to me is like even better because like if you look at, in my opinion, some of the best duos when it comes to centers and guards, you can't help but say, obviously Shaq and Kobe. But seeing how Chet and Shea last night developed this like unique, I don't know, man. It was like them saying, we got next. Like, right?
We
Like
got now.
we got now. We got now. OKC is like we got now. And that's what I want to, really end on is like this team is developing still. We don't know who's going to be the Robin to our Batman right now. But when it's all said and done, whether it is Chet or J-Dub or somebody that we haven't recognized from this bench or we get drafted next year, we don't know. But what we do know is that if it is Chet and if it is Shea, we have a team right now that in the future people will look at like Kobe and Shaq, like Moses Malone and Reed, like Mikhail and Larry Bird. Like that's what we have that's so unique with this team is that we have a team that's going to be known for the generations to come of this is what basketball is supposed to be.
Boom, baby. I love it, man. It's our own special time, and like you said, dude, this is it. We got now.